Copilot routinely distort the news and struggle to distinguish facts from opinion. The study, coordinated by the European Broadcasting Union and led by the BBC, evaluated the responses of 4 AI assistants and looked at accuracy, sourcing and providing context. Deutsche Welle is one of the 18 international media organisations involved, and correspondent Thomas Sparrow joins us now from Berlin. Thomas, g'day. So what's the main outcome of this study?
The main outcome of this study is that when users actually ask some of these AI chatbots for news, in many cases, what comes out is misrepresented, and that has to do with sourcing, in other words, not presenting the right source for the information that's presented. It can also be inaccurate elements, such as mentioning the wrong president for a specific country. And also, and this is particularly relevant and interesting, it can also be that these AI chatbots do not differentiate between real hard news and maybe satire or opinion, which definitely plays a role in what kind of information then users receive. In fact, this study stressed that around 45% of answers that users get are in one way or another misrepresented. And what the authors are actually stressing with this study is the need for governments, for regulators, but also for the AI companies to do more when it comes to making sure that users get accurate information when they search for news.
But there's been criticism of the results. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. This has created a big debate, especially because these AI chatbots are widely used around the world, the most common obviously being ChatGPT. And one of the criticisms that has been leveled when it comes to the results has to do with the fact that you can see it differently. So whereas the authors focus specifically on the problems, on that 45% of inaccurate answers, there are others that are saying that you can say that a majority of answers that users are actually receiving are error-free, and that is a good sign when it comes to these AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini or Perplexity. The second element that is being discussed critically is what exactly users search for when they're looking for news. What do they actually prompt? Because while the study also focused on specific sources, those who are criticizing it stress that users are not necessarily looking for specific sources. They want AIs like ChatGPT to actually summarize the news or help them interpret the news and not specifically focus for one brand or one news organization in particular.
The study focuses on Europe, the US and Canada, but can it also apply to other regions of the world?
That is actually a very interesting point. The study does highlight that it is also the case for other languages, but there is not necessarily a lot of research beyond this on what impact that may have, let's say, in other regions of the world, Africa, Latin America, Asia. There is certainly another study that was published recently, specifically by the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalists, and that focused not only on European or English-speaking regions, but also, for example, on Argentina or Japan. And what that study found, it was looking more broadly at AI use in general, is that while news consumption remains a minority use among ChatGPT users, for example, it is growing, and it is growing specifically in countries like Argentina or Japan. What it also found is that especially young audiences are resorting to these AI chatbots when it comes to helping them understand the news, so summarizing it, giving them additional context. So these are elements that are all playing into a wider debate of A, what people do when they actually ask AI for information, and B, what kind of opportunities but also limitations there are with these different uses.
And what can users do to be more aware of the limitations of AI chatbots when it comes to news?
So one thing is, obviously, and this is what the authors mentioned, the need for governments, regulators and the AI companies to do something. But there's also a specific focus on increasing media literacy and increasing also AI literacy among users. So this basically means that users, on the one hand, are more aware of what kind of information they are receiving and where the limitations might be, but also they increase their critical thinking when it comes to what they use these AI chatbots for, what the opportunities might be, so what they can get from them, but also what the limitations of each specific chatbot might be. So increasing critical thinking and increasing AI literacy are also very important for different age groups, so not only for young audiences or older audiences, but in general as something that needs to happen in the next few months, in the next few years, to increase the way in which people use AI chatbots in a responsible way.
Okay, Thomas, well, I can tell you that you're always indispensable and love our chats with you. Thomas Sparrow reporting there from Berlin. A quick look at tomorrow's weather now in the capital cities.